Hey, I'm Kurt Vermillion in my first phase at Flatiron Software Engineering School. We've come up to the end of our first phase, and we've been tasked with creating a project. I've worked in the fire department for 12 plus years now as a firefighter engineer and a medic. And I thought one way to merge the two was to do a project that could be helpful in the medical side of our job. Uh, so something I came up with is creating a search app that went through our department's drug box and was able to locate the drug to pull up information on the way to an emergency. Some of the information that might be able to be pulled up is the indication for its use, the adult dosage, the pediatric dosages, some of our protocols, a picture of the drug so you're familiar with it, and the ability to type in a child's weight in a form in pounds and return it in kilograms and multiply it by the pediatric dose of that drug. So I thought doing something like that could have a practical and applicable use. So I started building. I obviously needed to create my own object to do this and create my own db.json. If you look here on the left, you'll see this huge drug object I made that has the name of the objects, the indications, adult dosage, pediatric dosages, pictures of the drugs, protocols. You'll see here pediatric multipliers. This tells my second form what to multiply to get that pediatric dosage. I also have the unit here so that when it delivers that pediatric dosage back, you'll be able to see if it's in milligrams or kilograms or whatever unit is necessary. So the first thing I did was create that object, put it in db.json, brought this package in so that I was able to call my own server and access it with a fetch in my script. So I created a bunch of variables, a bunch of constants, as well as a drugs array variable. I fetched my db.json object. I then took that data, console logged it, of course, to make sure all the data I was retrieving was what I wanted, and then converted that data into my drugs array variable. The first thing I did was I ran a function that displayed all the drugs. I went through a lot of ways to look at mapping this. One was kind of creating, I had some of my scrap down here, just kind of creating cards and appending them, adding class lists, headers, things like that. But what I ended up deciding on was just creating this HTML string with a div, a header, and some p tags here, where I concatenated the drug name, the drug pick, indications, and dosages on the screen. So you'll see here on the right on the site that you have the drug, the indication, the dosages, and a picture. I joined it to get rid of the commas and made that drugs list here, which is getting this element by ID in my index.html, this UL ID. It ended up the entire display drugs app got appended to that drugs list UL. I then needed to create a search bar over here on the right. I created that in my index. This search wrapper, put labels on it, IDs, and a placeholder here. I learned that doing this. Placeholders just kind of tell the user what they need to type into the search bar. I wanted to be able to do this with just typing in a couple letters and making it not case sensitive. So what I did was I did a key up event listener where I created this search string within my event listener that took the event target's value to lowercase. Then I created a drug filter here, which took my array, filtered it, and returned the drug.name to lowercase includes. I also learned what includes was doing this project. It included my search string here. So if you were to type in, say, epinephrine, just at EP lowercase, it's going to bring up epinephrine, and all the information to it. The next thing I wanted to do was work on that calculator. A lot of our drugs are in kilograms, and it's so easier for us to look at a child and say he's about 40 or 50 pounds, as opposed to what they are in kilograms. So I created another filter, and basically this filter is saying if I had to create search string again because it's not global. I was saying if the search bar dot value to lowercase, our search string is search bar dot value to lowercase. I filtered the array again. I said, and I created an if statement. I said if the name to lowercase includes what the search bar brought up, then we're going to create another P underneath this new search bar here. The inner HTML is where my formula was written. I concatenate it again, a string here. It says pediatric dose for the weight input value. So that's going to be whatever the user inputs in pounds is drug.ped multiplier. That's why I had that in my db.json. I don't know if you guys saw it, but if you go over, I have ped multipliers, and that's in there for that specific reason, so that when this formula goes in, it can go back into that db.json object. Takes the ped multiplier, times that by the weight input value, and then divides by 2.2. And then I also finish it off with drug.ped milligrams, which if you go back to db.json, you'll see ped milligrams is basically the milligrams, kilograms, IUs, whatever unit needs to be placed in there, just to make it even more friendly, so that user friendly, so that when they type it in, they know exactly what they're receiving. I tied an event listener to the calculator, so when they input, let's say 35-pound child for epinephrine, they're going to hit the calculator. You're going to have that pediatric dose for the 35 pounds is 0.15 milligrams up to a 0.3 milligram max, just to make it as simple as possible for whoever's looking at it. If they want to put in more, I created another simple event listener on this delete button that just removes drug form dot the fourth child, which is this, and gets rid of it. The last one, I needed a third event listener for this phase 1 project, so I wasn't sure at first, but I thought something else could be useful. Is if someone wanted to, they could bring up some protocols that might have to do with this drug specifically. So I went to our protocol guide and got some new images. And for this mouse over, again, same thing. They're going to filter. They'll be doing the same thing in the wait button dot add event listener. They're basically seeing if it matches what's searched in here. It brings up that drug. And then in my db.json, you'll have a proto picture for every drug as well. Protos, another image file. So when they hover over this, they get the protocols, and all they have to do to remove them is click. So it was a fun project. I learned a lot doing it. I spent a lot of time on CSS. I feel like CSS is one of those things you just got to get in there and play. Um, I did some cool things with the font. You see if the weight calculator, if you want to make it bigger, you just hover over it. Yeah, just wanted to make this as like user friendly and as simple as possible. Some other things I had to do was like for these buttons, I had to make uh, these symbols right here. I had to make them like 0 pointer events so that when they click the button, they're not clicking the actual like calculator that I got from this fonts page. Um, Again, I thought this was cool, just hovering over something, making it bigger, brighter, so they could see it easier. And hopefully, we'll be using this project soon, using this application on our tablets at work, so that it can help people on the way to calls just become, even that more ready for the next emergency. Uh, Here's my index HTML. Want to see it again? We got a list here, a form, a bunch of buttons, but again, most of it gets appended on. Uh, so yeah, I really enjoyed the project. I look forward to the next one, and I hope this was helpful if anybody, wants to know how to build a search bar. So, Kurt Vermillion, thanks.